Everything going, hang in there, guys. Don't let the bear market wear you down. Don't let it push you out.
Push you out. Push you out.
Yes. Everything going, hang in there, guys. Don't let the bear market wear you down. Don't let it push you out. Yes. Everything's been against them. Everybody's been kicking them while they're down. DeFi Kingdom's team. Everybody's kicking them while they're down. People aren't believing in them.
Believing in them. Believing in them. Believing in them.
Yes. Everybody's kicking them while they're down. Mega bullish indicator. Ethos is there. The fundamentals couldn't be better of this whole ecosystem. Hang in there, folks. We believe in Purdy Sage, right? We believe in Wisdom Gaming. This is their baby. This is the first gaming company, one of the largest in all of the United States and even the world, I believe, for esports. Guess who's developing this game? Boys and girls, we got a phenomenal team, left, right, and center. We got so many bullish things going. Hang in there. Don't let the bear market beat you down. I love you guys. Crypto, Brady, baby, let's go. Go.
Exposure and bullishness.
Let's go.
Exposure and bullishness.
Go.
Exposure and bullishness.
Baby, go.
Look out. All these bullish, these are mega bullish indicators. Look out, DeFi Kingdom's community, people.
Baby, go.
Exposure and bullishness.
Go.
Exposure and bullishness.
Let's go.
Exposure and bullishness.
Go.
Exposure and bullishness.
Baby, go.
Exposure and bullishness.
Go.
Exposure and bullishness.
Let's go.
These are mega bullish. Look out, DeFi Kingdom's community, people.
Go.
Oh, baby. We've got George coming on stream. We've got Jet and the director of the Next Crypto Gym TV show, Justin, coming in the house. They're here. Man, I'm so excited. We got Dreamer. We've got Frisky. Oh, baby. Bolin coming on. Okay, maybe. I don't know. We reached out to Suka. Lots going. So much. We're so excited to tell you all about the Next Crypto Gym. You know, right here, Next Crypto Gym rewind session. We're going to go over episode 1. We're going to talk about episode 2 coming up next week. I'm so excited, guys. Love you. Man, this is really, really exciting. Oh, baby. Shout out to Sergeant Filthy McNasty, Sticks intern, putting that together. Guys, I'm so excited. I can't tell you what a weight, a burden lifting off my shoulders right now. The Next Crypto Gym revealed DeFi Kingdoms made it into the Final Four. I'm so excited. As you guys know, I've been such a DeFi Kingdoms fan for so long. The team is so strong. The fundamentals are so strong. There's so many good things going on in this ecosystem. The devs dream team. Devs developing. Also, Suka made it in to the top 4. We're just in the spaces with Jet and our man right here, Justin, the director of the TV show. Those guys are something else. They're like my people. When I was trying to get up on stage, I'm like, I love you guys. I literally busted out laughing out loud multiple times all throughout that whole spaces. Guys, also, we got PYR, Vulcan Forged, made it in. Okay, the third team that made it into the top 4 of the Next Crypto Gym Season 1. We don't know yet who the fourth and final, finalist is. So that's going to come up next week. So much going, guys. I can't tell you how pumped I am. It's how ecstatic I am. Following this team of DeFi Kingdoms with Dreamer, Frisky Fox. They developed this thing. They've got the right vision. They've got the right core values, looking out for the best interests of the community, even over their own best interests. That's their ethos, like you talk about, Jet. And seeing all that they've had to go through this bear market. We had the Harmony Bridge Hack. We had false FUD coming out against the team. All kinds of nonsense happening. And this bear market has been crazy. And so seeing this is kind of like you wake up in the morning, the sun comes up, and it's like you've been through hell and back 50 times over. And then the sun is coming up. We see awesome things ahead, awesome things going. And as you guys know, as everybody knows, the Wait token, the Hourglass community, it's one of my largest holdings in all of crypto, baby. They've got so much going with their incubator program, the utility coming for the Wait token, mind blowing. I'm so excited. They've got Alpha District coming. Guess what? The Wait token is going to be the exclusive token in Alpha District, and the Hourglass, brand is going to be built into the brand of Alpha District. We've got Cosmos, the Gigawatt project, or whatever it is. And I met that man, Steven, phenomenal. And Steven, I think did he apply to be in there? Seemed like that was Steven.
Yeah, with an NFT project that didn't have a token. And that's actually partly how we met him and ended up in our incubator.
Wow. Okay. So Justin, man, it was so fun listening to that Spaces with Suka. Those guys.
They're the best, dude.
My gosh. They must have brought so much life to that show. Tell me about those guys and how you even came across them in the first place. Jet, what's going on there?
Well, I'll tell everybody the story now for the first time is that now I'm telling the origin stories. For them, it was the guy, Mr. James, who was someone that I knew that strongly referred them, was one of the leaders of their community. And for DeFi Kingdoms, guess who was the advocate to get DeFi Kingdoms and Dreamer into the show? Obviously, it was and I think it's actually kind of funny because people didn't really connect the dots because we would always tweet, back and forth conversations with each other. It was pretty obvious that we were friendly and stuff, but it was, it was not obvious definitely that DeFi Kingdoms had made the show until it did. And that was agonizing months and months for everybody, keeping their mouth shut over that, for all the projects.
Tell me about it.
Commend you for not spilling the beans. And, but it was absolutely by merit. Dreamer did an incredible audition video. And I think he's actually asked me, can I show the audition video? I go, sure, absolutely. When you guys see what he did, it was such a good introduction to DeFi Kingdoms. You could see his passion. You could see how much he cares about the project. What a great guy he was. And when he did the interview, I was just so impressed. Like, this is this guy who made it to the very, very elite. Like, I worked in mergers and acquisitions at a shop. And we would just, when we would think of the Goldman Sachs guys, that's like the cream of the cream of the cream of the crop. And he was a director there. And to go from that and then into the Web3 space and what he did it was just really, really impressive. And it was really an honor to have him, as one of the contestants on the show. And I'm, episode 1 is good, but I'll tell you guys something. Episode 1 is maybe my least favorite episode. It just gets better and better and better. So I'm just really, really excited as things develop. And
it was so big brains, Jet. The tweet you tweeted out today with the teaser of episode 2, it's out there. Everybody go see it. It's a phenomenal teaser because he's bringing in what they call no coiners, people that don't own any crypto, okay, to get their opinion on these different projects, okay, along with the judges. I thought that was big brains. Justin, good call. Was that your idea? Whose idea was that?
Man, it goes back to the writer's room, and we all collectively, we came up with the challenges, you know what I mean? Like, so every episode is a different challenge. I can't be very careful about what I'm saying, so I don't want to give anything away, but every episode was broken down with a specific challenge in mind. And at the forefront of every one of those challenges, number one thing we wanted to do was at first educate and then entertain. And so once we came up with the educational component, then we go, okay, how can we have fun educating these people? And, no coiners, it's like, what better way to throw these contestants, into a challenge than to have them explain it to people who, number one, don't trust crypto, don't understand it, and don't want to have anything to do with it. And then how do you get them to want to be involved and then go out and learn a little bit more after they leave that room? And it was hilarious to see them have to go in front of these people. Suka, they're like the funniest dynamic duo, because every few minutes you don't know if they're gonna rip each other's heads off, and then like 5 seconds later they're like hugging and cracking jokes. Like you really never knew who you were gonna get when we rolled, but they're like the most positive people in the world. Patty was undergoing chemo at the time, and like the fact that he was there and wanting to be a part of it. And then Phil being Phil, like all of his voice impersonations and his jokes, and like keeping it lighthearted enough without being a distraction is something I really appreciated. Because it's like, you can say a lot of jokes, we can have a lot of fun, but at the end of the day, we have to get, a job to do. We have a job to do. We have to get a lot of things done. But they kept it light enough to where you never felt bogged down or annoyed with how much fun we were having, right? And like that's the best set to be on, because you look up, 10 hours are gone. And now, man, I wish we could stay for like another 2. And then we come back the next day and it's like, okay, what are we doing today? And then they freak out because here's another challenge we didn't tell you.
They're trying to get you in there and have coffee, Jet. Man. So we've got Fox and Dreamer backstage right now. They're waiting. Frisky Fox and Dreamer.
I can't wait to ask Dreamer if he, because I was just saying on the actually, do you want to bring him in first?
Well, I was going to say, before we bring them up, I want to hear about how you guys came across Suka and PYR Vulcan Forge to get them on the show. Then we'll bring up Frisky Fox and Dreamer. And George is going to be popping in too here soon.
Well, we had a submission process, and then we also had a lot of people come in through referrals. So you were the person that referred DeFi Kingdoms, Grady, changed the course of crypto reality shows forever. And then a guy, Mr. James, was the person who referred Suka. And then it was actually someone in the Hourglass community who also held Vulcan Forged that I didn't even know he did, but he pinged Jamie and said that, hey, there's this show. Would you apply for it? So it's kind of like it all happened organically through connections. And I think that we had a great mix, and pretty soon we'll know who the 4th team in is. And I think the 4 teams, we couldn't have had a better mix. And we were also talking about this in the last spaces, that I think it was a little bit tough because we all got along and we were all just like having fun as if it was like a convention of mostly Web3 people, but also some folks like Justin who aren't in our space but enjoy our company and are learning about it and everything. But then there's these crazy competitions too, and
it's like the perfect blend. It's like you have these incredibly intelligent people debating over the merits of crypto, behind the scenes before we roll, and then you have a majority of the crew who really didn't know anything about crypto, myself included. Like until I got into that writer's room and met Jet, I really didn't know a lot about it. But then once you get through the 3 days and we're on set, it's like everybody wanted to be there and everybody wanted to have a good time. And like after we rolled the first, I think 3 takes, we're all laughing. Like in between takes, everybody's cracking jokes. It got to the point where it's like, okay, we got to focus and set up for the next shot because we're having so much fun. It was like a big hangout. You know what I mean? And
I wish I could have been a fly on the wall to see the backstage conversations with George and Leia.
Oh man. Yeah.
George, Leia, and Brian, man, it was some of the most insightful conversations to where you knew it was a really good vibe on set when the crew is quiet because they're listening to the judges have a debate in between takes. Where it's like you're not telling anybody to be quiet because they're talking too much. It's everyone wants to know what they're talking about. And why are they this passionate about it? And then you have the contestants all trying to get a little FaceTime with the judges and or Jet. Yeah. And you just have everybody just, mixing it up all day. And it was the best.
I'll tell you what, though, Justin, you did such a good job at the end of the show. All the times you even had Brian in there going, oh. Every time Leia would say what, and then he did it again.
Oh, his head turned.
So funny. Starbuck. Let me introduce you guys. Starbuck with the Mythic Squad. They've got a guild with DeFi Kingdoms, baby. And these guys are YouTube streamers. Okay. And they've got a lot going on within the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem. Christian Peter, also my man right here, who's a third-party dev for DeFi Kingdoms. He's also a content creator. He's got a YouTube channel. But all these guys, Sergeant Filthy McNasty, also YouTube channel. Okay, these guys and phenomenal dudes right here. You guys, what do you think? Does anybody have any questions for these guys?
Do we have opinions? Grady, we always have opinions. I had the opportunity to watch this show with my wife, who's a crypto novice. She doesn't know anything. She knows crypto because I talk about it, and she tries her best to follow along. And but watching the show, I mean, I look at her, I go, well, you're the target audience. You let me know, follow along, and she, she likes it. She likes the idea. For her, it's an opportunity to sort of bridge what I've told her with what's happening on TV. It's like, oh, okay, so that's this. And then you toss in a bit of humor. I mean, who doesn't like that? I mean, it brings it. You bring life to a subject that many people might think is either overwhelming or dull, or you see things on the news and you think the worst, but you come to find out, hey, you know what? It's not as scary. It's not the boogeyman we've all been led to believe.
Man,
that was 100% the point. You nailed it, man. That's what we were going for.
It's like, forget the negative connotations and listening to the mainstream media who don't want to educate themselves, who are literally going to pick the worst people associated with the industry, and we're going to amplify it. And like from day one, it's like, we're not going to do that. We're not going to glorify like some of these other tokens or whatever that aren't up to, task with everybody else. But at the same time, it's like, let's highlight some of the positive aspects and let the viewers decide.
Right.
Like, you can watch the show. The people, dude. Like,
let
the people decide. Don't just have a talking head up there telling me every horrible thing about one coin and then make that the basis for an entire industry. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, and I don't know anything about crypto, so I'm meeting all these people for the first time, and it's like, you're going to be able to decide for yourself after you watch that show. And that's what we wanted.
Man, that is beautiful. Wow. I'm probably already in the doghouse here from Sarge. I probably brought up Fox and Dreamer too soon, but it's like, I feel bad. They're sitting there in the waiting room, guys. I can't just let them sit there the whole time. They're right there. Our guys in the house, man, the legends themselves, as Shiny D would say, the legends.
You've got handsome and good looking. You decide who's who. I mean, it's up to you.
I mean, the pure good looking hunks of man flesh have now joined us right here. Frisky Fox, who founded this thing, he's sitting there with his wife saying, hey, he had a vision and a passion to start DeFi Kingdoms. He started this thing from nothing. Okay. And then he's talking with Dreamer's wife, Pie Face. That's how it came to be, baby. And then later, Dreamer came on. It's so awesome. Match made in heaven. Dreamer, you did such a good job. Looking in all Rico Suave up in there. Skydiving. I mean, this guy does it all. He's, executive, Goldman Sachs, skydiver. He's surfer. Yeah, man, so much going on in his life too. He was out there in Hawaii. All this stuff happened in Hawaii. We had the fires, right? And it really, that was rough. How are you guys doing? Dreamer, Frisky Fox, I love you guys. What's going on?
Yeah, man, happy to be here. I think it's interesting to see the final product, because that conversation with the judges probably, I mean, if people talk to me, they know that I probably talk a little bit too much. I use a lot of words to get my point across. I go from A all the way to Z. And so to like talk for 30 minutes and be like, what 2 to 3 minutes did they choose to put in there was really interesting. But I thought the show was incredible. You touched on, the Lahaina fires on Maui. That is, where I'm from, greatly impacted, community greatly impacted. We don't have to talk too much about it here, but the last month leading up to this, I've been very MIA. Kind of Last of Us type of experience there. A lot of loss, a lot of craziness, but a lot of improvement through it. So with that, Fox, over to you.
Frisky Fox, we want to hear your voice.
Hey guys, happy to be here too. Yeah, this was really, really cool to see like the product after it's been polished and edited and all the things. I mean, it's the first time I've seen anything of it. I heard a lot about it from Dreamer. Crypto Grady and his amazing just like advocacy for the project. It's just amazing. And he was able to shoot us the connection over there. And so, like we sort of talked about it in turn, like, wow, this is a really cool opportunity. And if there's anything that is such a perfect fit for a show like this, it's got to be crypto, because there's so much drama and there's so much cool stories and just really amazing, interesting characters. So yeah, we like really quickly said, yeah, let's try this. Unfortunately, it was on a week where I had a planned spring break thing with my family that I couldn't cancel on. But I was like, you know what? Let's send Dreamer. He's the A team. He stepped up. He like volunteered, and he's like, I can do this, guys. And so, you know, he just blew it away. As I was watching the first episode, I was just like, wow, like this is way better than I thought it would be. And then speaking with Dreamer, he's like, I've been sent like little clips, but I can't watch it because I hate like watching myself. He's so modest and like so humble, but he just really killed it. So
Look, nobody likes the sound of their own voice, let alone wanting to see like 8 different angles of themselves talking about something super important. It's like nerve-wracking. So definitely have to inch through the episodes for sure.
Well, guys, let's observe the most clearly profound part of episode 1 right here.
Is your project going to win?
What sets DBI apart from the others is that I code everything by hand. I write code with pen and paper, old school, then I transcribe it to Microsoft Word because it has spell check.
They're gonna show Dreamer.
That was an epic troll, man. I love the guys who do DBI, by the way. They're great guys. I did a few collabs with them, and it was really, really, really fun.
Oh, that was like
comic relief. Have to have the, you know, like it's like in American Idol. There's always the clown audition.
The bloopers, you know?
Yeah,
Kinda.
It fit right in.
that was Big Justin, big brains. Well done on that.
Dude, he's so funny. I remember watching it in post, and I just fell out. I laughed out loud, and I was like, "There's no way this is a real submission." And then we found that picture of him holding that sign at the Chiefs game. I was like, "We gotta put that in. This is hilarious."
Oh, that makes it even better. Was it at a Chiefs game? You guys know I'm
Yeah.
from Kansas City,
And
baby.
he's wearing his suit jacket at the game, like just the same suit jacket in the interview.
He didn't make it to the next round, but he won a spot in my heart. I'll just leave it.
Yeah.
Forever.
He didn't make. We thought that if he had made it to the final 4, that I think that everyone decided among the producers and judges that would not probably be the right.
Probably isn't going to work out
the
too well.
thing for crypto.
When George comes on, I'm gonna be like, George, how much did this influence your decision? Were you just blown away and mesmerized at the spell checking of this man's developing? Oh my
He
god!
went on for a while too. He goes on in that audition for a while about spell check. It's like you have to kind of cut it off, because then it's like, okay, this is going to be something that people would make fun of crypto for, as opposed to it being
one moment.
As opposed to being one moment.
Yeah,
like it's got to be brief if you're going to make a joke, right? So
That's right. So, Starbuck, what was your favorite part of episode 1?
Obviously, it was the surprise of seeing Dreamer on there as soon as he came out. You know, he represented the community well. I always want to know if I was in his shoes, what would I have said in his place that I would have wanted to have differently? And I really couldn't think of anything that I would have changed. And, you know, really, really proud to see him on there. And like I said, that was the best part of the day for us.
Oh, baby. Okay, Christian Peter, let's hear it. Come on.
Yeah, it was a great first episode. I thought it went really well, although some of us might have come across the episode a little bit too early from text messages that were going back and forth between Jet and Grady. So try to keep it under wraps as long as we could. Sorry about that, Jet.
So, Jet, it was KP. Christian Peter's the one that first discovered.
I think it was issue. It was the time zone thing somehow with it's supposed to hit the live, then the VOD. Somewhere along with the time zones, it got off by a day, and then the VOD hit. So then we had basically the choice: are we going to try to keep this under wraps for a full day? And it became very, very obvious that the answer was going to be no to all the incoming text messages. So then at that point, it was just like, okay, well, given that we can't keep it under wraps, do we want to have everybody else, you know, spreading it underground, or should we just own it and say, look, it's out early? You know what I mean? And then start putting out clips and telling people to go there. And that's what we opted to do.
Yeah.
You know, in life and in crypto, you're faced with never-ending challenges. We had, and in the last 48 hours, there's been a lot of them. And in general, it's just all about the response. You have to make lemonade from lemons sometimes, and
That's right.
We did the best we could with it.
Dude, Jet is probably the best producer at adapting in like a moment's notice, right? Like whether you're on set or an issue like in the last 2 days, Jet's ability to pivot and not even think twice about it, like that's why the show is going to be a success.
I'm telling you, I've seen it firsthand. The man is so OCD, and he strives for perfection in every detail, and that's how you win. I started businesses from scratch. You have to focus on the details and be Johnny on it. And this man, and so KP, how does it feel to be the man to give Jet a hernia over the last 48 hours by, telling all of the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem that this happened?
Yeah, I think that everybody that's up here right now has had to adapt, on stage and really had to take the entire last couple of years in stride. I mean, I wasn't sure if we'd be seeing, Fox and Dreamer here as we are right now after 2 years. It's been ups and downs and all around. So all of you guys have really had to, deal with the challenges and what's been going on. But Jet and Justin put it on an entire television show, a production, but then Fox and Dreamer having to pivot with all the things that went on in the past, and getting to us to where we are today has just been really fun to watch. And I'm just excited about what's going to happen, you guys, in the next bull run. I mean, I've been crossing my fingers and my toes and just looking forward to that time when we're talking about crypto in a different light than we are right now. And I think the next Crypto Jam will help us at least get some of that exposure that we need and put faces behind these tokens, because everybody wants to know. DeFi Kingdoms is it's a project where when Dreamer comes on stage, he represents everybody so well, but all these projects are just people, and we got to recognize that these people are working their asses off in order to make these projects successful. So I really appreciate you guys putting the show on, and I'm super excited to see what DeFi Kingdoms does and the rest of the finalists.
Well said, KP, my man. It's going to be a slow build. We're still right in the thick of a bear, but this show, as Jet's going to tell us right now, is going to air over and over and over and over on mainstream TV, distributors all over the world in 15 different languages and all the different countries. Anybody in the world is going to be able to see this thing. We can all already see it on Distro TV, which, by the way, Jet is a phenomenal app, and it's already the most viewed show ever on the app.
They actually contacted us because they were worried that it was fake traffic, because they'd never seen anything that goes on demand, and then suddenly he's getting all of these clicks from all around the world. And then, they were worried that it was inauthentic traffic. And then once I think that it was communicated that, no, we did a lot of promotions, there's entire communities behind this that want to watch this, then they realized, wow, this is a hit. And so in Hollywood, things change all the time. They change at a moment's notice. Another thing that happened was one of our big major distributors, Insight, pretty much very, very near the end, decided to shift their release. So a lot of the platforms are going to be showing the show staggered, where episode 1 begins in October, which just means 14 weeks of next Crypto Jam instead of 7. But the cool thing is that we're not stopping. On Distro TV and on some others, it's now. And so we're still going all the way full blast right now. And we're really, really excited. Justin's manager also we're going to be talking, because she has a lot of connections with major distributors that we're going to be talking to. So,
baby.
So this is going to have a long, long tail. It's just the very, very beginning.
This is going to, this is going to end up to be a great strategy, because it's almost like a pre-showing of the crypto community. That's who's showing up, right? So we're going to get feedback. We're going to hear what people like. We're going to hear what people may not like. And then we can actually take that and win a completely different audience, which it's kind of catered to both, right? Completely different audience that doesn't know about crypto, that sees it on TV. They're going to have a different reaction, and we can market a little bit differently. We as projects can actually get feedback from people in this first wave and continue to make enhancements and prepare for the next wave, right? That's what, I mean, for any of the contestants, hopefully that's what others have been doing. We've been hard at work because we got that feedback from the show, and we're like, man, this has been a free consulting from some of the smartest people out there. Let's get to work. and we've been getting the work. And now we get another wave to get feedback and get to work. So huge shout out to like the pivoting that was mentioned by Christian Peter. And I do want to give a shout out to Bolon. You know, he's mentioned, you know, Dreamer and Fox. There's a lot of pivoting that's happened in the last year and a half with a lot of things that come up. Bolon's not going to be making that with us today, but you know, he's head of our community, he's head of player engagement, a lot of risk management. A lot of our pivoting happens when people like here, Grady, Christian Peter, you know, Sergeant McNasty, all of Mythic Squad, you know, they're talking in community. Bolon absorbs that. He comes to us with a plan, and we start pivoting. So he's not here. I did want to give him a good shout out. He represents the community and a good team as well.
I love it. So, man, there's so much we could talk about. Justin, I loved seeing. I watched you did an interview with somebody and talked about your story of how you came to be where you are today. You want to briefly hit on that real quick?
Yeah, man. I got to do an interview up north on a show called Live in the Bay, and I went to school in the Bay Area at a place called Dominican University of California, and I was lucky enough to work with my mentor, this lady named Melba Beals, who's this amazing civil rights activist, and she empowered me to go out and really learn how to tell stories from a very young age. So like when I got to college, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I knew I didn't want to be in a cubicle all day long. I knew I didn't want to, you know, I wanted to do something creatively, but I had no idea what that was. I'm a terrible artist. I can't draw to save my life. But the first semester in college, I was lucky enough to take an art of film and video class. And my teacher was a guy named John Duvall, who had worked on Raiders of the Lost Ark and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He was a sound designer. And he gave us a camera and he said, go tell me a story. You got 45 minutes. And from that moment, man, I was hooked. And, you know, you flash forward to like 5 years later, I was in film school. And then after I graduated from film school, my very first job was working on a reenactment show. And I was a production assistant. And to go from having to pick up trash and get coffee and tea for the executive producers and the director of that show to now being on set and having Pop-Tarts heated up on day 2, it was like the biggest full circle moment, man. Because like I was the guy that was heating up Pop-Tarts. Like I was the guy that was making coffee and learning how to not screw up a pot of coffee with no grounds in it. And so it's you know, for anybody that wants to be involved in any kind of field, if you're willing to put the work and the time in, like you are going to get your opportunity to shine in whatever facet that is, whatever like the position you want to be, whether you want to be a director, a writer, producer, whether you want to start your own coin, whether you want to be an artist, like there's going to be somebody out there. If you can scramble long enough by yourself, there's going to be somebody out there that's eventually going to give you an opportunity. And with this show, man, like this is my first TV series, and it was the biggest honor in the world to be able to go to set every day and be around these people. Like, you can't ask for anything better than that, man.
It's beautiful. So, Jet, how did you find this guy?
I just gotta say, he just absolutely crushed it. Sometimes he came in through our production company. You never know how you're going to meet people, but we were just blessed because here's someone who is so artistic, who cared so much about making this a good project and meticulous about detail. And on top of that, he was open-minded to the Web3 world, and he cared, and he wanted, once he started to get what we're doing and realized that we're not supervillains and bad people like some other people might think and get stuck in some like stigma, right? Once he got it, he was on our side. He wanted to do exactly what the idea of is what the creators of the show, which is to show the faces, show the reality, show the people, you know? And so we're really excited. And just to let you guys know that this is just the very, very beginning for us. This is like a great proof of concept for season 1, but we're going to try to keep on going bigger and better. And we're also going to be doing other projects. And I'm really excited about working with Justin on a lot more.
Thank you, man.
Can I chime in? You know,
yes,
it was my first time ever being on a set, right? And I'm sitting there, I'm super nervous. I mean, you could tell, especially in the first episode, I was a little nervous, right? And there's cameras everywhere, and we don't have a lot of time to like do what I think the goal is to do each day, right? So this man's job is to make sure that we're on budget, that all these strangers that we just met, it's supposed to be reality, unscripted, we show up and you have to deliver high quality content with people that most of us have never done anything like this. I don't even think the crew that was there had worked together all together. And he commanded the room in a way that, like, first 5 minutes, everybody's in sync. He's nice guy. When he doesn't need to be nice guy anymore and somebody needs to be getting on, boom, game face 2 seconds, back to nice guy. I was just like, he was like, you know, Super Bowl coach style, like, boom, 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 we're out.
The joke was he looks a little bit like Vin Diesel. So when he needs to be Vin Diesel, everyone just kind of backs down and just says, okay.
My favorite was his reaction to every airplane, because we're going, it's a good, you know, good recording. And then I just hear like beeps. I mean, all these things. And I'm looking at him just like,
yeah.
I just heard all about it, Dreamer, from the Suka guys. The Suka guys just gave us the rundown of the airplanes.
Dreamer would always, I don't know why though, but Dreamer and I would always, like, our eyes would meet like across the room, and Dreamer would see me, like, we would be almost done with the take, it'd be going great, and then that plane would start coming. I'd hear it in the distance, and I'd know, well, forget it, the next 30 seconds is wasted. So Dreamer would see me quietly, like, rolling and squeezing my script, and then just a blooper reel of cursing for like 30 seconds until the plane left. And Dreamer always saw me. He'd always laugh. He'd always just kind of look over and be like,
and I guess we had
sympathy, frustration.
Beep, 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 beep. Like next door or something. So Dreamer, what the heck was it like when you first walked in that room and there's George, the man, the myth, you know, Cryptos Are Us, baby. Then you got Leia D. Halpern, right? Or Leia Halpern right there, and Brian D. Evans. What was that like first entering and seeing them for the first time?
So I get really nervous about these kind of things because I respect people. I respect the role that I fill, the project that I'm representing, and you know, I just really want to do well. I think one thing I've heard even from folks on here is that passion comes through. Passion, you don't really obtain passion without really caring, and you don't really care without feeling a lot of pressure, right? So when I first walked up there, definitely seeing the judges, I was excited, but I was like, it's game time. You know, I don't come from a long line of like people at Ivy League schools that have worked for all these big banks and everything. I've always felt that pressure, but I've always kind of rose to the top because of how I react to that. So I'm not going to pretend like it was chill or anything. No, man, I was nervous. But I was also really excited, knew the importance, and tried to show up. I will say, though, you know, one of George's questions, kind of in between all of the cuts and the questions of that portion, was about this man right here, Fox. And I saw the sincerity of the judges come out, and that kind of softened my anxiety or worry a bit, because he was like, hey, man, you know, when everything was going down last year, I heard that, you know, Fox was actually a little bit affected, and I think he actually asked, like, did he end up in the hospital? And like, it was in between takes, and that for me, it kind of went from, you know, we're all people here and we all care, about the space, and that kind of shift the tone a little bit in my head. It's less like me versus, and more like, we're in this together, let's find out how we can educate, let's find out how we can compete. And that set the tone for me for other days. So that initial day was fun. I showed up excited, nervous, kind of felt more like I was in like an interview and competition. But George is actually one that helped give more of a personable connection that made it a bit easier to be myself, or at least try to be, with all like the 10 cameras on you and people yelling and airplanes coming over.
Hey, and that's right. George, the man himself right now in the house, he talked about right on his own channel about how, you know, there's some nice guys, you know, in this competition. And then there was some, you know, more dog type guys in this competition. We're going to see it. I don't know how this is going to shake out, guys, but man, I'm just imagining, George, that the nice guy you were talking about was this guy right here, Dreamer himself. George, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
You know, I was just wondering how this impacted your assessment right here, the most profound part of the whole show. And I'm sure you must have been strongly debating accepting this.
Is your project going to win?
What sets DBI apart from the others is that I code everything by hand. I write code with pen and paper, old school, then I transcribe it to Microsoft Word because it has spell check.
So George, that profound moment of that show.
That sounds like an ad. You insert a mid-roll ad right in between.
Oh
Okay,
my
go ahead. I'm
God.
sorry.
Oh, it's something else.
You want to hear a
guys-
funny story?
Yeah, I want to hear it.
First time I met Dreamer is I've never seen him before. I'm like, man, he's the most handsome man I've ever seen. Like that's the first thing I said. I even told him that. And he like all decked out. I'm like, man.
Everyone in the community too.
Yeah, that's a real
Number one
story.
reaction.
But yeah, it
No,
was
George,
it
you
was
did-
a
you did-
blast meeting Dreamer in real life
you hinted-
and everyone else there.
Dreamer could
hinted
play
a
like
little
Prince
bit.
Charming in like some Disney movie easily.
Dreamer comes up on the stage. He's like, yeah, I do surfing. And by the way, executive of Goldman Sachs.
Rapunzel
I do
saves him.
skydiving.
Yes.
I actually,
Dreamer
like,
was
had to
introducing
chop off all my
himself,
hair
he
when I
named
went on.
like 10 different things. Skydiving, I surf, I do martial arts, I'm a grandmaster at chess. It's like the list goes on and on and on.
Oh, I
He
love
delivered
it.
14 babies at once.
Mhm. Well, and as we know, you guys, Jet, our man right here, Jet's month over month, 30-day children born to him is down this month. It's down to 2,787 that he knows of this month. Now, last month it was over
A lot of child
3,000
support,
children
man. I'm
born to
fucked.
him.
Doesn't matter how much money I make, I'm fucked. If that were true, thank God that's not true.
I mean, he's still not sure how this happens, but at least he's obeying God's commands to be fruitful and multiply. Okay. All right. So we don't know how Jet does what he does. He's not human. I was sat there right there attached to his hip, and I'm still trying to assess if this man is actually a human being or a cyborg. That is yet, the only thing I did notice is that he did eat food. So, that's a pretty good indicator that maybe he's human. I'll tell you what.
Anytime that I get my head boosted up so much by Grady, and then I got all the DMs from George are all critical. When I'm getting it, so it's like
feedback.
Grady's bringing me up. George brings me down.
All right,
I gotta
George.
bring Jet down.
On the overall,
I gotta bring him down.
So George, tell us, what does Jet need to get his act together on? We need to know. What are Jet's flaws? Does this man even have a flaw?
This is a terrible topic.
I don't know. I don't know if we want to go there.
This could be like an 8-hour tirade right now.
Yeah, Jet, I'm gonna send you my wallet address, so you can send me some funds right now.
Oh my goodness. So George, what the heck? How the heck? Here's what I want to know. Is that of all human beings on the face of the earth, I would have thought that George would be the hardest guy to get to be on the show, right? Mr. Stubborn as an ox right here, George.
He was the last one, and he actually a little bit of a spoiler, but he was like, well, if you get Brian, and it wasn't me at that time. He was dealing with the production company, Bespoke TV, but I was just kind of filled in. He's like, well, if you really do get Brian and Leia, then I'll do it. And then I think we showed him. We got Brian and Leia. They're signed, and he's like, all right. But he wasn't.
I
Is
mean,
that
really,
right,
because it's the first of its kind,
right?
So when I first got my email from the production company, I'm like, is this legit? I can't tell, and it was months. Even after I said I'm interested, it took like 2 months before I got a reply back saying, okay, now we're ready to go. So I was like, okay, but yeah, Jet was a big part of me coming aboard. He's a really good guy, and yeah, he made everything really smooth. And obviously, we've been talking a lot, and everything that he's doing with Hourglass. So you're right, Grady. The guy works like 80 hours a week, maybe a tad more than me, but I won't admit to that.
Oh my gosh. So George, so honestly, it is insane, George. How do you, so I'll get to that here in just 1 second, because I've seen you, George. I've seen you since the beginning of your channel. I mean, I don't know how small you were, but maybe around the 10,000 sub mark. Okay. And I was watching you for years, and I've seen you come up, and I would hear George say like, why should I get on someone else's channel? Wasting my time. And all of a sudden it was like a clear change, and you declared it on your channel right there, George. After you went to film with Jet in did the next Crypto Gym, all of a sudden your whole mantra changed to where you want to be a help and a blessing and come out and partner and help all these projects out there and do things out just outside we're staying in your own zone, with the absolute plug and play. Here's how to grow a crypto channel method that he's got. Like, he's told me all about it. You've gone from that to now you're out here talking to me for 30 minutes in a day, listening to me. Okay. You've got Cryptos RS Plus you're trying to work on. You've got the DYOR agency that you're trying to help, projects and content creators alike out there. You've got all these things going. You've got your car channel you're still doing. You still faithfully every day. You're doing 2 videos a day. You're cranking them out. And it's like, I'm just like, how does George even keep up and do it? Insane. I mean, it's easily 80 hours a week. It's got to be.
It's true. He has like the gold standard of channels out there. Like when we were starting out, I also put this in the chat, but it was like such a milestone for us to finally get that like mention on his stream. And like we had a lot of our people that would hop into the comments and be like, what about DFK? What about DFK? And he's like, what's DFK? And then after a while, he's like, okay, let's go check it out. And then I remember when like, I think it was a month or two after we launched, Pie Face was like, we finally got a mention. And like, she'd watch it religiously every day. Yeah. And of all the channels out there, like George is the one that's not just pure like hype and like all these things. He's like always down to earth. He has a very like level approach to things, and he's got a really respected opinion. That's why people respect him.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And let me make it clear, George, I can't tell you how much I appreciate this man. At first, George, asked, if I want help in his mentorship on my channel. And the whole time I kind of had my guard up just a little bit, like, what's his aim here? What's his play and then a couple months go by and I just more and more, I come to realize, no, there's no play. There's all he's trying to do is look out for my best interest. 100% my best interest. That's all he's ever trying to do. He's not trying to get anything out of it at all whatsoever. And that is his heart. All of a sudden now towards all these projects and people out there in crypto, it's a heart of gold. It's exactly what I'm trying. It's exactly my ethos of what I'm trying to look for. He's just out there being a blessing. He has been such a blessing to me. People, I cannot tell you. Anyone who thinks George in a different way, I'm telling you, you're wrong firsthand. He's got nothing from me, nothing out of me at all whatsoever. It's 100% George focused on always looking out for my best interest. And it's like, George, where did this come from? It's like a different person.
Well, let me just say this. You don't have to continue to blow smoke on my ass because DeFi Kingdoms already made the show. All right. So let's get that out of it. But I appreciate it.
I just thought you should hear it because I've already said it about 85 times on my channel. Yeah.
Watch out. The big ask is going to come from George eventually. He's just setting you up. Then, oh shit, you want that?
Oh.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
George, I'm even a stubborn guy myself. I wasn't listening to him. I'm not taking his advice. It's not that I disagreed, but it was like the situation I was in. I'm trying to hear him and take his advice, but after a while, I thought George was going to maybe wipe his hands at me and just be like, I'm not going to waste my time on this guy anymore. Nope. He's just cool. Takes me right where I'm at. He's not trying to do anything. It still blows my mind actually, because you don't usually see that out there. So George, I just thought you had to hear it from me since I have said it like 85 times already on my channel.
Thank you.
Okay.
I do have to let me say something about that. I have to give 100% credit to Brian on that actually. Up until I've never met Brian before, never even heard of him. So I wasn't quite sure what he's like, but he was like that towards me. So throughout recording, we spent many hours for like and Justin knows this, who aka Vin Diesel, to get a 15-minute shot took us like 7 hours, like no joke. So we had a lot of time to bond, and Brian just came off as the super helpful person. And it really blew my mind. It changed my perspective 100%. That's why I'm like, man, I've been missing out. I could have been using this time to form real connections with others in this space, trying to help them as much as I can, because ultimately when everyone wins, right? The whole crypto community wins. And, ever since I've met him, come back, we're still really good friends. But yeah, that's why, I wanted to, and I saw you, Grady. I mean, you've been watching me for a while. In fact, I credit you for bringing me back to DeFi Kingdoms. I mean, honestly, I think a lot of you guys know there was some rough patches. Okay, I don't have to go into details, but some rough patches. And I declared, I'm like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to hear about that project. But it was you, Grady, that brought me back. You're like, man, you were persistent. You're so passionate. I couldn't help but listen. And it made me, get back and become more interested. But, and I wanted to pay that back to you, right? Basically, I want to help you as much as I can. And I've been reaching out to others too and trying to be as helpful as possible as well. So,
and it's so beautiful to see. It's so fun to be a part of, George. It's like if George or Jet, say Grady jump, I always respond, how high? You guys just tell me I'm there. You guys are absolute legends. Goodness gracious. Sarge, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I think it says a lot about you, George. You were the one who introduced me to the game. I'm a virtual nobody, right? A big picture, many of us are, right? But you introduced the show or the DFK to us, the community at large. Things happen, as you mentioned, and you could have kept moving forward, not look back, but you took the opportunity to sort of reflect and sort of your demeanor's changed. As far as I feel like ever since you like Grady said, ever since you've been on the show, you've taken more of this, wait and listen rather than react. I almost feel like you came to the realization how much impactful your voice and your opinions are than maybe you once thought. It almost felt like you took that for granted at one point and you pivoted.
That's right.
Well, yeah, said. I mean that's spot on. Over the years as my channel grew, I knew I had, I guess, clout, but I didn't know how much until I started actually reaching out and talking to others. Right. I've started networking a lot more, started attending some of the conferences. I held a few of my own and just speaking to the people and also others in the space, project leaders and other influencers. I've come to realize, a lot of people really respect what I do and they really enjoy my show and enjoy meeting me. Right. And that gave me more of a confident boost to continue to do what I'm doing now. Right. So that's exactly right. But So, but I gotta credit that, I guess, change for me to Brian. So
that is beautiful. I love that guy, Brian.
I'll tell you, I got to double that because Brian is incredible. And I'll tell a little anecdote that I don't know if you remember, George, but in the very, very beginning, I know you guys are really good friends. I'm really good friends with Brian too, and all of us. But remember, I created a little Telegram group. It was just Jet, Brian, George, and I was like, "Hey guys, you're both gonna be judges on the show. Say hi to each other." And then like 3 days, there's like no messages. I'm like, "Come on, guys! Like, you're both judges on the show. Like, be friends, share something." There's just like blank space. But then on the set, it all changed. Then.
Yeah. Wow. No, it like immediately like, I don't know what it is. I mean, and Leia's also. I've on the set, I've grown close to her as well. I knew about her. I'd never spoken to her before. So I don't want to say I've only gotten close with Brian, but yeah, I mean, with Brian, we just kind of hit it off. We have the same, we think alike, same mentality, same work ethic. And afterwards we just did. And same thing with Jet, we talk all the time. We're like the three amigos.
Yep.
I love it. So Frisky, in a minute, not yet, I'm going to ask you what your vision was when you first started DeFi Kingdoms. But first, George, I want to ask you, what was your favorite moment in filming the show? And it might be meeting Brian. I'm wondering, or
No, it's when Dreamer and I, we got a little too drunk, and we ended up in a place where we were not supposed to. And no, I'm just
Wait, which time? That's like multiple. That's like which of the 8 times that I've witnessed that are you referring to?
I was like, I don't. There's some nights.
Resist.
Some nights I don't remember. I was wondering if that just was like out of my brain or something. But I had a big freak out moment. I'm glad that was a joke.
No, I mean, for me, it's just, the whole experience was just very different. Obviously, I'm a lot more comfortable in front of a camera when it's by myself or with you guys on Zoom. But when there's a crew around you, and every mistake you make, you affect everyone, and then everyone has to reset. I mean, that's a lot of pressure. I don't think people know about, right? Until they're in that position, they just wouldn't know. So that was very different. Made me a lot more nervous. But overall, I think just meeting people in general, especially the projects, everyone is so passionate. Everyone is super, super smart, but also passionate about the project they represent. And I wouldn't say I teared up, but I definitely got a little emotional when we started cutting the teams. And some of the speeches, the farewell speeches, I guess, and the audience will see that in the coming weeks. It really touches you, right? Like, you could definitely tell that the passion and everything comes out. So that was definitely very very different for me. Like, I didn't expect that. I just thought this is a game show, we're gonna cut people, but man, it really got to me. So
you didn't realize you had kind of a soft side of your heart, George.
No.
This is like a new thing coming out of George, guys. It's like
especially for a group of guys too. So very different.
At the same time, George is also the guy when everyone was getting a little bit, the teams were getting a little bit too kumbaya. Do you remember that, George?
Oh yes.
and thank God, because if it was too kumbaya too early, that wouldn't make for good TV, where it's a game show conflict. There's trying to strive to be the winner, the survivor. But George had a pretty dramatic moment.
Well, the best thing George says is it's like the best piece of advice. And George was always very even keeled throughout the entire process and very level headed with his notes back. But at one point, one of the teams, and you'll see it on the episode, they got a little friendly with George, and George got really serious and was like, "This is a competition.
Yeah,
it's kill or be killed." And it was like the whole, like, you could hear a pin drop on set, because it was the first time George was not smiling, and it was like, you have to remember, you're here to win. This isn't to be friends, and yes, you can make friends, but you're here to win a competition. This is a game show, and it's kill or be killed. And at that moment, it was like the dynamic on the set started to change a little bit, and that was before any of the teams started getting eliminated. So it's a pretty great moment.
Well, Dreamer, that if you're still there, that might have been for you, because here's what George told me about you, Dreamer. George told me that you are one of the nicest guys he's ever met, and he told me that he respects you almost as much as anyone that he respects in all of crypto.
Wow, that's a
big.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if I've ever said that. I don't know. That might have been made up. The second part of that,
something along those lines.
I'm gonna take that as word for word fact, and I'm gonna say I'm honored that he said that about me. But no, I think the niceness and the camaraderie. It was really cool to be pioneers in this thing and to come together. We're competing, but we're also meeting other people willing to put their names out there, their faces out there, and put it all on the line in front of cameras, in front of some of the most influential people in the space. So it was nice coming together and getting reminded of the stakes and everything. I think was very necessary, and George played that role perfectly. And then behind the scenes and then after as well, and following up after the show, building that friendship, that professional rapport, and really being an ongoing advisor and friend. It kind of shows that it's not just fake for the cameras. It's really easy to look nice and look like you're interested. It's when the cameras go off that you really see what people are made of. And that's where I think a lot of us have seen the heart, the passion, the hard work that is being mentioned here.
Yeah. Oh, baby. Okay, guys, I want to end the show with Frisky's vision. Why the heck did you start DeFi Kingdoms? Where is this going? What's going on here? Let's go.
No, yeah, I've been in this space for a long time. Always interested in like Web3 and decentralization, and just like the ethos of it. It's amazing when you're at places like this, where you're at like a conference and you've got so many other like really cool builders that are like visionaries out there that share your same sort of like passion thing like this. It's really cool to see how many amazing people are out there building in this space. That like there's just so many amazing things happening at the same time. So I think this is a great show because it's trying to highlight a lot of those projects, but there's so many gems out there. It's just amazing to see what's being built. The vision for DFK was very much like, hey, you know, let's build something that's going to really make a difference long term, not just like a sort of like really fast sort of like flash in the pan, but like we want to build something that's going to actually make a difference and be able to onboard regular users into crypto and educate them. Because I had a lot of my friends asking me like, wait, what is crypto? How does this work? You know, like explain to me how this works. I'm like, what better way to educate people than through something that's enjoyable, like a game? So really that's how it started, just an idea. And we started building it and, you know, had amazing success. A lot of other people shared that vision. And, you know, like we are here for the long term. There's always ups and downs in this space, especially in crypto. A lot of drama and just crazy stuff every single day. It feels like a week, and every week feels like a year. We've been here for 2 years now, and it's actually really amazing to look back over this past 2 years and see all the things that we have built in that time when actually a lot of other projects just kind of fizzled. We saw a lot of other projects look at us for inspiration and say, you know, this is amazing. And so a lot of other projects actually started to build from sort of our idea. And that's amazing. That's really what it's about, is to get other people to come and build and work together and see, you know, how we can create something that will make a difference for people. So we're still here every day. We're still here hard at work, trying to build. And it's amazing to see what's been done the past 2 years. We have an amazing team, really smart people, amazing community. They're just really great and amazing and honest and true individuals here. So I'm just really stoked and really blessed to be here, and really nice to be on the stream. Thank you.
Thank you, Frisky. Dude, you're a legend. I love you, man. Gosh dang. So George, Jet, Justin, any final words? Any of you guys?
I would just say that, hey, look, the first episode was great, but it's actually the favorites are all ahead. So
Yes.
you can see a lot more of Dreamer and how well he handles everything, and what a great representative he is of all of crypto. And in several episodes coming up, they're going to be on Thursdays. Distro.tv is the best place to see it. It can either be streamed on any device, or it can be on a smart TV. It's pretty much on every single smart TV platform, and it'll be at 6 p.m. Pacific time on Thursdays. But live stream at that time, and then on demand will be released around the same time. And
Jet, I'm so thankful that you have somehow created this show out of nothing. You've made this happen from nothing, bringing exposure, regardless of the outcome, regardless of what place DeFi Kingdoms gets. Okay, I'm just so thankful for the exposure, for the space, and for these projects coming in, including, of course, DeFi Kingdoms. Okay, and I'm just stoked to see what's to come. Season 2. I know you guys have a lot coming. I'm so excited. I love you. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on. Justin, Jet, you guys, George, any final words? Thank you for coming on my channel, George.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yes.
We got to get him on season 2. We were trying to get you into season 1 in some way, and it just didn't quite line up. But when you were doing your intro, Justin was saying we got to get Grady in season 2.
I mean,
somehow.
like it's honestly the passion of this community and all of you guys, and for how hard you work to bring this to the masses. Like that is like the best place to be, and I love being around that kind of positive energy. And I don't think I would have felt as comfortable as I did had people not been as excited as you guys. And so just thank you guys, man, for continuing to spread awareness and educate, and for continuing to get the word out and shining a positive light on something that needs to get, out there.
Phenomenal freaking job. It brought me to tears. I'm telling you, it brings me to tears. Every time I even think about it, it brings me to tears.
Let me just end with this. Yeah, episode 1 was good. But man, once people start watching 2, 3, 4, 5, it starts really ramping up. It's going to get really, really good. So people should keep on watching because it's going to get really good.
George has some amazing zingers that are coming up. Some of the very, very best, most dramatic moments of the show are George's moments. And so stay tuned and you'll see them.
Oh, baby. Jet, do you remember the 4 projects we're waiting to hear? I know one of them's Wag Me Games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what are the other 3?
Serum?
Yeah.
Serum. Shopping.io and ADOM Metaverse.
Yep.
Shopping, yeah. I've had some Serum in the past and Shopping.io. Those are good projects. Okay. I'm excited.
Let's see.
Yeah, we'll see, baby. Okay. We'll be talking about that next week. So excited for what's to come, guys, in the future. I love you guys. Frisky, Dreamer, Justin, Jet, George, Starbuck, KP, Christian Peter, and Mr. He's filthy. He's nasty. He's Sergeant Filthy McNasty, baby. We are all out. Love you guys.
Thanks, guys.